Jeff Saturday. He's been introduced now. I want to give the soundbite. It's been talked about during the course of the week, but we haven't talked about it, and I want to jump on it. And I know that you and Plex, you and Fred Taylor put in your bids to want to be head coaches. I want to hear all about that. But first,
Absolutely.
I want to hear y'all's reaction to what Jeff Saturday had to say in his press conference about, being the new head coach.
I'm completely comfortable in who I am as a man, bro. I know I can lead men. I know the game of football, and I'm passionate about it. I have no fear about, are you as qualified as somebody else, bro? I spent 14 years in the locker room. I went to playoffs 12 times. I got 5 dudes in the Hall of Fame that play with it. You don't think I've seen greatness? You don't think I've seen how people prepare, how they coach, how they GM, how they work? I mean, won Super Bowls, been to 2. Like, here's the deal, man. None of us are promised a good job. I may be terrible at this. And after 8 games, I'll say, God bless you. I am no good. I may be really good at it. I got no idea. But I dang sure ain't going to back down. I can tell you that.
I'm going to tell y'all this before I turn it over to y'all. I like what he had to say. And from my perspective, I hope he wins and I hope he has success, because that is a football player that is addressing the media as a new coach. That's a football player. We know who he is. He's one of us. The only color connected to success in my book is green, all right? Green is the color connected to my book. So if he's speaking that talk, he's talking that talk. TJ, have you been around Super Bowl winners? Have you been around Hall of Famers? Have you been around good GMs? Have you been around people that know how to win in the NFL?
Absolutely.
Hey, Plaxico, have you been around coaches and players that are going to the Hall of Fame, in the Hall of Fame, won Super Bowl? Oh, hell, you won a Super Bowl. Okay, have you been around the same exact things that Jeff Saturday just said in his press conference?
I actually played with 6 Hall of Famers.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so for me, this is why I want to see Jeff Saturday succeed. Because if an owner was bold enough to make this move, knowing the type of criticism, scrutiny that he was going to get hiring this man, if Jeff Saturday indeed is the person that he says he is and can do the job that he believes he can do, then now the whole entire conversation of how us as former players are treated and looked at, especially upper echelons players. You don't really see no high-profile guys coaching and head coaching teams. But just like things change with younger head coaches, the Kyle Shanahans, the McVays, the LaFleurs, all these young boys, they had the young boy movement take place, all right? What if Jeff Saturday's success, if he indeed has success, ushers in a whole new way of what our narrative is towards former players and their opportunities? Because to me, I think that includes black players, that includes brown players, that includes white players. I think the color barrier, the racial barrier, goes out of the door, because I think it's because of the type of reputation some of these former players would have, and that to me, I think now gives a whole new light on how you approach it, hiring a coach.
I mean, you can go so many ways with this, LaVar, because I'm in a group chat with a lot of players that I play with. Some of the guys, I don't know who they are because I didn't play with them, but the players that are in the group chat played with them, so they added them. It's like 70 of us, bro. So I don't know a lot of these dudes. And one of the dudes, when Saturday got hired, was like, wow, this is a complete joke. I played with him for 8 years. This is a complete joke. If he wasn't Peyton Manning center, nobody would know who he was.
Fair.
That's what he said. And I thought that was slightly wrong, because Jeff Saturday wouldn't play with Green Bay and played well. Peyton can't make the line calls. Peyton's not blocking his guy for him. He has to do that. But this is the problem I have. John Lynch goes from working on TV to being a general manager. They say, "Oh man, he's really smart. He went to Stanford." I get it. Well, Marcellus Wiley went to Columbia. Why can't he go straight from TV to be a GM? He went to Columbia. Well, why put him in that position? He went to Columbia. So, Deion Sanders is a Hall of Famer. Played with many Hall of Famers. He knows how to lead men. He had to go to HBCU. And he's been telling everybody, like, I want to be a head coach, but I'm not going to be the DB coach. I know more than this coach. They threatened by me. He had to go to Jackson State to prove his point. You think they're going to get at him? Nah. But I do hope Jeff Saturday succeeds because of everything you said. I've been offered coaching jobs in the National Football League. And I did an internship, and I'm like, man, the hours that they put in, and you're starting at the bottom. And as a player, we all play for coach like, man, this coach is really damn good. Like, this coach. And then you play for coach, you're like, man, this dude don't know what he's doing.
He wouldn't know how to get out the front door if you gave him a map of the building.
They don't know what they're doing. So it's like we don't want to start at the bottom because we know what we experienced as players. And so this is why I would like to see Jeff Saturday succeed because of everything you said. This may open up Pandora's box to say, wow, these guys can lead men. These guys understand the game of football from all their years of experience. And now you just hire really good assistant coaches that are just like you. I hope he succeeds. But the opportunity that he received was surprising. But it's not what you know. It's always who you know.
Who you know first. Yeah. Plex. Come on.
Oh man, I was just kind of all over the place when I heard that he had been named the head coach of this team. And first of all, with all the new information that was brought to me, I realized that I was qualified to be an NFL head coach.
Bam.
Absolutely, Plaxico.
Because I'm saying to myself, how can you undermine my IQ and my intelligence and my knowledge of this football game if you think that I can't put together a band of great men to coach and lead some other great men? Then that's your opinion. Because, listen, just like he said, I played at a very high level. He played at a high level. He's been around Hall of Famers. I've been around Hall of Famers. I won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl. He played for a Manning. I played with a Manning. So I said to myself, man, I might as well just throw my name in a hat and see what happens. But we know that that is not the reality of what we are dealing with. And you just mentioned the whole John Lynch thing. He went from TV to straight to general manager. I have a friend of mine, Mike Adams, who played 16 years of professional football with the Carolina Panthers. And he put his name in and had to be the GM of the Carolina Panthers. And they told him he needed to go back to school to get his master's. And I'm saying to myself, what in the hell does a master's have to do
Nothing.
with trying to become a GM
Nothing.
of an organization? You know what his master's is? His master's is 16 years of playing professional football. That is his resume. But they told him that he needed his master's. And I'm saying to myself, an interim coach that is hired, it's usually somebody steps in, somebody that's already on the staff. The staff has a lot of great teachers and players that are on that staff. Reggie Wayne. Why wasn't Reggie Wayne good enough? Kevin Mawai, TJ, you mentioned Gus Bradley, Scotty Montgomery. How does it make those coaches feel when somebody from the outside comes in and takes the helm of an organization, of a team, and they have no idea what's going on from a scheme standpoint, offensively and defensively? Yes, you're sitting on TV talking about it, but you're not in the trenches and understand and know exactly what's going on with that team. How do you think those coaches feel? So now they have to regroup and maybe come up with a whole new plan of what they want to do or try to be as a team. Their season's already over.
But don't you got to look at it
that's
if
why,
you're a player.
That's why Jim Irsay made the decision. And secondly, I would think that Roger Goodell would put these rules in place for a reason. But it seems to me that the players, when they break the NFL code of conduct, policy, or whatever that may be, they break the rules. Players receive consequences. It just seems to me the owners, when they break a rule, they do it deliberately. There are no consequences for them. What, are you going to give me a fine? Yeah, you know what? I know I didn't obey the rule as far as interviewing the Rooney Rule or whatever the case may be. What are you going to do? Fine me? It just seems that when they break the rules, there are no consequences for owners. Robert Kraft, Jim Irsay, Daniel Snyder, all of these owners, we'll take a couple of dollars out of your pocket. That don't do nothing for them.
It goes right back into
That's
building
not
their
a
company
consequence.
anyway. It goes right back into building the company anyway. I mean, it's just what it is.
Yes.
That's not a consequence. But based off of the hire that he made and basically the ruling rule that's put in place, it should be illegal hire because the rules were not followed. And
I think the rules are a little different for interim head coaches.
Yes,
though.
when you fire a coach during the season, you can kind of skirt the rules.
You can skirt the rule. Yeah. I think it's a little different. But when with that being said, though,
so
when
the season is over,
then I think they have
does
to,
the hiring process start all over again?
I'm gonna tell you, unless they decide to make him the permanent head coach, then the process starts over. But I believe if they make that coach that was brought in during the interim period of time is made the head coach, I do believe that that's their coach. Like, they don't have to go through – that coach doesn't have to re-interview for the job after the season's over as the interim. They just remove that title from him and make him the permanent head coach. I do believe that's how it unfolds.
So that is the loophole of the hiring process.
That's a hell of a loophole. I mean, you would have to start firing guys during the season.
This is the crazy part, though, is when you're offered – I mean, Jeff Saturday thinks like we think. LaVar, you coached high school. I've coached high school. I don't know if you have or not, Plex, but a lot of us, because we love football. Like, I love football. Like, that's just what it is. We would coach, but you got to start at the basement. And Jeff Saturday wanted to coach.
I think he coached high school too.
They weren't going to start him at the basement. They were going to make him an offensive line coach. He didn't want that. He turned that down. Because he wanted more. He turned it down on more than one occasion because he wanted more. And he waited until he got more.
No.
Till more was offered to him.
He turned it down because he knows that he has an advantage to push the envelope to become what he wants to come.
This is what I'll say.
What are you hinting at, Plaxico Burress?
If Prime is not a head coach in the National Football League in 2 years, I know something.
I mean, but we got to get to a break. But you guys do know that the advantage is his relationship with Jim Irsay. I mean, let's be clear here. We could tippy-toe and dance around the racial topic of it and whatever we want to do. But or whether a guy is more qualified or whatever. But let's be clear here. You made the point earlier, TJ. It is about who you know versus what you know, and that's the order. We know that Jim Irsay has a super healthy infatuation, infinity, admiration for Jeff Saturday. We know that. And that's why he's gotten this opportunity. You want to wonder why he waited and said, no, I don't want to be an offensive line coach? Maybe he's sitting there and he's been told, maybe the communication is, if anything doesn't go the way it's supposed to go, we're going to give you the opportunity. Just sit tight. These are the things that take place when you build relationships and you become more than just a player on the field that comes and goes. You have conversations. I tried to do it with Dan Snyder. It just went the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's what I think is taking place here. A man has been given an opportunity because of the relationship, the things that he's gone through with Irsay. I mean, Irsay's only Super Bowls as a owner has been with Jeff Saturday, if I'm correct. You know, so I think his dad. I mean, I think I'm correct on that.
Yeah,
anyway,
100% you're correct. You're correct.
I just think that his relationship with Jim Irsay has created a 1 in a million opportunity. But with that being said, that 1 in a million opportunity, you're telling me that there's a player out there. I mean, look at Warwick Dunn. His relationship was so strong with Arthur Blank that he's in the ownership group now. You know what I mean? There are moments in time where you can say, this is why this guy got the opportunity that he got. I just hope it opens the door up for bigger conversations for former players and inclusion of what that looks like in terms of opportunities for gigs. there may be a person that somebody is close with in one of these organizations. They need to have the ear of the owner. They need to have the ear of the people who are making these decisions, whether it's the GM or whatever it may be, and say, bring a Willie Anderson to the table. Bring an Achilles Smith to the table. Bring a TJ or a Plaxico or whoever it may be. Bring them to the table. You know what he represents to this team and this organization. You know what he represents to the city. And you know that the man understands X's and O's and understands the game. And this is why he should have an opportunity to come in here and legitimately take over this team as a head coach. Like, that's what I'm hoping Jeff Saturday has opened the door up to. And, Jeff, I know for me, myself, speaking for myself, I want to speak for everybody. I wish you all the luck in the world, my guy. I hope you get it. I hope you go undefeated the rest of the way, and I hope that they got to sit there and say, dang, Jim Irsay made a hell of a bullish decision, and look at what happened. A former player made this junk happen, made the action happen.